G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another AITA video. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready to tell me who you think is in the wrong in these situations. Down in the comments. Now our first post is by user Throwaway with a lot of numbers. Am I the a-hole for not telling my boyfriend that I don't have a breast? I am honestly heartbroken right now. I, 24 female, am a breast cancer survivor. I have had my left breast removed, and there's just a scar there now. When I go out, I wear a silicone padding on my left breast, otherwise it looks very odd and makes me self-conscious. My boyfriend, 23 male, and I have been in a long-distance relationship for the past 3 years. We had met a couple of times, but we just enjoyed each other's company. He knows I'm a cancer survivor, but doesn't know about my breast. I decided to move in with him about a month ago, and we tried to have sex. I said tried because the moment he laid eyes on my breast, his face went white and he refused to touch me further. He said I had cheated him and that I should have told him earlier about my breast. I told him I didn't think it was important, since he said he loves all of me and he thought I was beautiful. I am honestly so conflicted right now, and I feel like a horrible person. AITA for not telling my boyfriend that I don't have a breast. Edit, had a talk with him. He says he can't be with me anymore. He didn't know I was lacking a breast because I looked fine in my pictures. Thank you for your help, everyone. Edit, to those people who think this post is fake, would you like to see my scar? Please be more sensitive before making claims. Here's the thing. You're a cancer survivor and you value your privacy about losing your breast. But you're the a-hole when you have a 3-year long distance relationship with someone and don't share that one critical piece of information about who you are. 2. You're planning on moving in with him. He's going to see you without your prosthesis for the first time, and you still don't tell him? Surprise! Yes, he says he loves all of you, but you didn't share all of you with him when he said that. You lied about who you really are and are now upset because he caught you in your lie. I don't know if you can recover that relationship, but good luck to you if you try. Yeah, that's an incredibly long time to withhold that, then drop it on him as you're readying for the inaugural sexy time. Yes, but he also sucks. Everyone sucks here. That's a straight up crappy and shallow reaction, and sounds very much like it wasn't the lying by omission that he hated, rather that he sees her as disfigured, which is a straight up crappy attitude. So, if you were him in that situation, you'd be totally perfect, right? Like you wouldn't show surprise or anything, you wouldn't even flinch, you'd be like, she neglected to tell me a critical thing even though she had plenty of time? Cool, sexy time now, right? There's a difference between flinching and breaking up with someone. Breaking up with someone for withholding the information for 3 years sounds reasonable to me. Long-distance relationships rely solely on communication, and it's her responsibility to relay info like that to her significant other. I can't bring myself to say you're the a-hole. I certainly don't think you're a jerk, but I do think you should have told him beforehand. Probably long before, because A, it would be a surprise for anyone, and it doesn't do you any good to spring that surprise on him in the moment, and B, if he's an arse about it, wouldn't you rather know that sooner than later? I'm sorry things didn't go well for you. Our next post is by user Godforshus, titled, Am I the a-hole for not taking my girlfriend's side over a sexist tradition at a restaurant? I, male 26, am a second-generation French immigrant to the US. I speak French and most of my family lives in France, so I try to make a trip back to France once or twice a year. I have been dating an American girl, female 26, for 2 years now. My girlfriend does not speak French at all. The actual events in question happened this winter. I usually go to France around Christmas time. The most recent Christmas, my girlfriend wanted to come with me. I said sure, as she had never been to France before, and we'd been dating almost 2 years, so it sounded reasonable. My family comes from the southwest, but I also have family in Paris, so we stopped in Paris first. My girlfriend wanted to eat at a fancy French restaurant while we were there. Something with Michelin stars. Expensive, but not really a problem since I make pretty good money. We made a reservation for a good restaurant, not the best, but still good. We had to make it months in advance because it's a restaurant that's high in demand. As a very upscale restaurant, there was also a dress code and things like that. We showed up and everything was fine at first. They took our coats, we sat down, the restaurant was beautiful, etc. The waiter then gave us our menu. I had to do all the communication as my girlfriend doesn't speak French. I was showing my girlfriend something on my menu and she noticed that mine had prices and hers didn't. I had completely forgotten about this tradition because it's just not common at all in the US. She asked me why mine had prices but not hers. I explained to her that it was just a tradition in many upscale French restaurants. She called it sexist and said it was ridiculous. I told her that it's just the way it was in these kinds of places and that we shouldn't have come here if she was upset by this. She wanted me to ask for a menu with prices for her. I refused because we already had the prices and I didn't want to make a scene. She demanded that I confront a waiter about it or she would walk out. I called her bluff and she ended up staying but didn't talk to me for the whole meal, which was delicious by the way. We've been back home for several months, but she keeps bringing it up. I'm honestly considering ending the relationship over this because she will not stop talking about it. She keeps accusing me of being sexist. I'm not. And has been making ridiculous comparisons. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. All you had to do was say, "Sir, my companion would appreciate a menu that includes the price list." It seems unlikely that this would cause a scene. He's a waiter responsible for customer service. It may be tradition, but I highly doubt it's restaurant policy to refuse to share their prices with their female clientele. I'm confused as to why she couldn't ask for the menu herself. Did she think that was a man's job? Probably because she doesn't speak French. Jesus. You're the a-hole. She felt discriminated and you did not support her, and failed her as a partner. Tradition does not make misogyny okay. These restaurants should adapt themselves to modern society, not the other way around. But I also feel like it's just unfair on both sides, expecting men to pay and expecting that women can't or won't pay. Most sexism is like that. It hurts everyone. There was a post I believe yesterday about a woman getting upset because her in-laws' family would make the women wait until the men were done eating. And literally, the food would be cold by the time they sat down. I'm not sure how that tradition would hurt any of the men. I mean, men who actually like their partners / sisters / female friends might miss getting to have a celebratory meal with them. I hate going somewhere with a man and then getting split up from him because the women and men are expected to hang out separately. I think a lot of sexism that doesn't have an obvious negative impact on men is negative for them in this way. If you assume women are actually valuable and desirable people to have in your life, all tradition that prevents women from equal participation prevent men from having as close or meaningful of a connection to have of the population. I guess I just like to think of myself as worthwhile company, whom the men at the table would miss if I wasn't there, and I think I am. Our next post is by user Secret Room AITA, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not telling my fiancé about a secret room in our apartment?" I recognize the title sounds a little ridiculous. The situation is less so. I was very fortunate to be in a position to buy an apartment straight out of college. It was a weird unit on a high floor of a weird building, but I've gut renovated it and made it really nice. One aspect of my home was created to just fulfill a childhood fantasy, a secret room. It's simple. A flush mount bookcase put in the doorway, it leads to what would otherwise be a windowless, very large closet or a very small room. I made it into a cute secret lair / reading nook, but with no windows, it never got used. Ended up being more long-term storage. I never told anyone about it because it was a secret room. I kind of figured at one point I'd tell my girlfriend, Emma, but I didn't want to tell her I had it until I had a reason to. I had finished it shortly before meeting her. I figured maybe one day if we had a kid, I could remove the bookcase and bam, we would have plenty of space to put in a changing table setup or a craft nook for her. But I largely forgot about it, except when I needed to pull something out from back there, which is rare. Fast forward to yesterday. Emma is now my fiancée, has been living with me in my, now our, apartment for 8 months. During this time, I've kept the secret room a secret. It's not like I was thinking about it all the time. I only consciously did something sneaky maybe 3 times since she's moved in, to get Christmas lights, a spare coffee maker, and to put away a novelty item she probably thought I threw out. And the reason I was sneaky at those times was because, again, I didn't want to waste the surprise on Christmas lights. We've both been working from home lately, and we aren't really able to leave very often due to circumstances. And she jokingly announced we needed a new room to shake things up from her normal commute, bedroom to living room. So of course, I excitedly pulled open our built-in bookshelf and showed her our room. And she flipped out. She is furious at me. She sees me keeping this secret as a major betrayal of trust, given that this is her home. She's acting like I cheated on her. I tried to explain I was waiting for a special moment, but she thinks that makes it worse. I have no idea if she's being unreasonable or if I am. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. It's a closet, not another woman. Literally this. I'm not sure if you understand what's happened though. OP has just revealed that there is a secret closet of sorts they were in and come out from time to time. So OP has been going to Narnia and not letting his fiancée enjoy secret Winter Witch Turkish delights? I would be so gutted in the same situation. I couldn't help but laugh. I understand the Batcave mentality, as I am also a guy, but I think it's probably come off as a more axe murderer vibe. I want to say not the a-hole, but logically, everyone sucks here. It's your place, so what if you have a secret room? It's your secret room. But you should also have told her about it after being with her for so long. Maybe a week after she moves in? Not telling her is like you don't trust her with your secrets, which is a bad thing I suppose. Everyone sucks here. She overreacted, but this is her home and has been there for 8 months, and you had a secret room hidden from her. I might have voted differently if you hadn't waited so long, but seriously, this is a screwed up secret to keep, and I'd be wondering what else you're keeping from me. I have to ask what is so screwed up about this. It's a small room in her apartment that she owns. If your relationship is fragile enough to crumble over the discovery of a secret storage closet, then what the hell are you doing? I mean, it's their apartment. It's not like he moved in and made it without remembering her permission. Alright, our next post is by user Chore Throwaway, titled, "Am I the a-hole for using home security cameras to expose my girlfriend's gaslighting? My girlfriend, Anne, 25 female, and I, 25 male, have been dating the past 5 years since college. After graduation, we were semi-long distance, living close enough that we alternatively visited almost every weekend. In 2018, Anne got a job in my city, and we found a place and moved in together. Now's a good time to mention the security cameras in our house. Break-ins are unfortunately common where we live. We thus got some motion-activated cameras, one of which has a view of our kitchen to monitor the back door. The cameras only record when there's motion so they can retain footage for a very long time. Anne, of course, knows this. About a year ago, Anne started complaining I wasn't contributing equally to chores. I've been obsessive about chores my whole life growing up. Not doing the dishes meant no video games for a week. When I lived with roommates, I was always the chore Nazi, making sure we all stuck to our chore wheel. Anne is just as fastidious about chores, so we naturally alternated who did what. I'd just been brushing her remarks off, but over the last few months, they've become much more aggressive. E.g., I was vacuuming, and Anne said, "Look at you, finally cleaning up around here." I replied that we alternated vacuuming, to which she retorted, "No, you vacuumed maybe twice since I moved in." Exchanges like this have been happening so frequently that I began to doubt my own recollection. Am I not as clean as I thought? Finally, she exploded at me last week. She said that having to stay home constantly over the past weeks exposed how little I do around the house, and that she didn't move in just to be my maid. Questioning my own sanity, I spent a few hours going through the entire 1.5-year archive of security camera footage and tallied the exact number of times the kitchen cam caught each of us doing dishes. Our cleaning supplies, vacuum, mop, etc. are in the kitchen pantry, so I also tallied up how many times we grabbed cleaning stuff. To my vindication, the tally showed that we indeed split chores equally. She vacuumed and mopped around 5 more times than I did. I did dishes around 20 more times than she did. Given that we vacuum and mop at least once a week and do dishes at least every day, these are insignificant differences over the year and a half that we've lived together. When I confronted Anne, she shrugged off her behaviour as remembering things differently. But the real sin here was what I did, which she called an unforgivable violation of her privacy, akin to abusive stalking. She has broken up with me and is trying to move out, although obviously this is difficult due to current circumstances. I'm totally heartbroken. Anne was the love of my life and I can't believe she destroyed our relationship like this. To make matters worse, she told many of our friends, who are mostly siding with her. They've been texting me what I did was creepy, abusive, controlling, invasive, etc. I'm at a loss. I'm beginning to think I'm the one who's off base here. Edit, some people thought I vacuumed 5 times more, and she did dishes 20 times more. I clarified the wording that it was literally 5 more times and 20 more times, total over 1.5 years. Not the a-hole. She has been accusing you of not pulling your weight, and you pulled hard proof that you were. She knew about the cameras, so it's not an invasion of privacy. I would argue, and honestly, it sounds like you'll need some time to get over her, but it's for the best. Not the a-hole. I was going to say almost exactly this, but it's been said here and more eloquently. So count this twice. She talked crap, you proved her wrong, and that's that. Honestly, it was never about the chores. I'm more sorry to say it, OP, but it reads to me like she was already feeling done in the relationship, and that's why she was getting mad about the chores. You know how when you're mad at someone, everything they do annoys you? Her perspective of dissatisfaction made her see you in a light that was untrue, and looking at the cameras was not wrong, so you're not the a-hole. She was looking for a reason to get out, and she jumped on that one. Sorry to hear about all of this. I hope you find someone who appreciates what a great partner you are. Came here to say this. She was trying to grenade the relationship. Probably been looking for a way to make OP feel like it was his fault for a while. Screw her and her friends. Not the a-hole. You didn't do anything wrong. I think she's been wanting to break up for a while, and she just used this as an excuse. Many people will do this so they won't look like the bad guy. Anyone supporting her should go pound pavement. Thanks. I'm beginning to accept that you're right. It's just hard to come to grips with this because throughout our whole relationship, we literally never fought about anything else. Literally never fighting about anything is not really healthy or a sign of a healthy relationship. It's logical. No 2 people naturally agree on everything, and you'll never find a roommate or partner who never does anything you find annoying. So if your partner never ever brings up any conflict to you, they're hiding or swallowing the conflict for some reason. Maybe they're terrified of conflict, something like that, issues from their past. But everyone has a breaking point, no one can just shut up forever, and no one should have to. This is why learning to have small fights about small things, or sometimes even big ones, while still loving each other at the end of the day is a skill that will keep a relationship healthy and growing. So eventually, someone either blows sky high or just goes sour on the relationship and looks elsewhere. What you did wasn't wrong, but it was open to a bad interpretation. She took that bad interpretation and ran with it to all her friends. It seems that she went sour on the relationship for some reason. Probably not something you did, possibly past issues of her own. But when you feel ready to start over with someone new, try to learn to argue, disagree, and even fight a little in a healthy manner. Accept conflict from your partner without freaking out, and try to dish it out without freaking out either. You need that with someone you love, so that neither of you feels smothered or silenced. And OP says, this is exactly the sort of insight I really need right now. Thanks so much. There's honestly probably another 10 minutes of stuff to go through here, but I feel like we've reached our limit with comments right now. Oh my god, I'm just looking, that first comment was by Real Steve Owen. Bless, thank you for the good advice, Steve Owen. Bless up. Righto, our next one is by user PC Am I the A-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for not making my son share his gaming PC? I am 45 female, and my husband 50 male has a 16-year-old son. He's a good kid, good grades, respectful, does his chores, etc. Last summer, my son said that he wanted a new computer. To his credit, he got a part-time job and saved up for it and built a pretty nice gaming PC. We're really proud of him, as he saved for it for nearly all summer. My sister and her husband have recently moved in with us. They have a 9-year-old son. My sister has a history of, I don't know how to put it, being entitled. She thinks her kid can do no wrong and spoils her kid. Well, when they came over, my nephew noticed my son's PC. He asked if he can play on it. My son said not now. That was the end of it for a couple of days, and again, my nephew wanted to play on it. I asked my son if he minded sharing. He said he would rather not since it's expensive and doesn't want it to break. This has caused a big argument. My sister says it's extremely unfair to my nephew because he doesn't have a system to play on, just his iPad, so my son should have to share. I told her it's his PC, not mine. He paid for it, so it's up to him. She then accused me of being a spineless parent, and I said I'm not, but I'm not going to force my son to share his own computer. My nephew ended up having a huge fit, which she then blamed me for his fit, but gave him 3 more hours of iPad time to quiet down. It's been 4 days, and my sister hasn't brought it up directly again, just being passive-aggressive. While on the one hand, I don't want to make my kids share, but because it's his computer, he saved up for it, and I don't feel it would be the right thing to do to force my kid to share. On the other hand, I do feel kinda bad for my nephew. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I went to bed with probably less than 100 comments, and now my inbox is 1500 full. There is no way I can read them all, so thank you to everyone. And I have an update. I showed my sister this post, and I guess it was a bad idea in hindsight. She was ticked and screamed at me and my son. My husband told her to get the hell out. Oh, fuck. Dude, Reddit's tearing families apart. Anabolic Beard says, this is the main point. It's not your computer, so you have no say in who uses it. Your son paid for it. Your sister and her kids sound like entitled brats, not the a-hole for not giving in. Yeah, that was my thought process. It's not mine. Jumping in here to say you should make sure your son protects his computer when he is not using it, both physically and with a password. I would not put it past your sister or her son to borrow it if your son is not around. Or damage it because we can't use it. No one can, you know? Not the a-hole. Please don't force your child to share his own belongings, especially a computer, which is kind of a personal thing, just to satisfy someone else's bratty child. I don't plan on it. I don't feel like it's my right. I know a lot of parents say their kids don't own anything, but I think he does since he bought it, so I don't think I really have the right to force him to share. Good on you, OP. Those parents are in fact very wrong while you are right. Parents who think their children have no possessions make me so mad. How can you ever expect them to want to work for anything if it can never be theirs? Not the a-hole, and thank you for not being one of the, if he's under 18, he doesn't own anything parents. Thanks, that means a lot. I know when I was his age, my parents were super strict. I take this to heart and try to be fair in my parenting without letting him run wild. He's a good kid, so it seems to be working. I especially love how they rewarded the brat with screen time on the iPad for having a tantrum. Yet she calls OP the spineless one. Lol, sis can't even stand up to a 9-year-old. Also, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Oh my god, her kid only has an iPad? The poor thing. However will he survive? Your kid is an adult. He doesn't have to share anything that he doesn't want to. Even if he wasn't an adult, it's his computer and you can't make him. You asked, he said no, she can die mad about it. Or he isn't an adult, he's 16. I misread, but my answer is still the same. It's his, it's an expensive personal item, not a pile of Legos. Yo, the Lego Death Star's like 800 bucks. I wouldn't let the 9-year-old play with that either, lol. 16 is old enough for legal consent in some countries, including first world countries like New Zealand and Australia, by the way. While your son may still legally be a child, it's good that you're starting to treat him like an adult. The idea of a 16-year-old being forced to share something they worked and paid for is abhorrent. Great job parenting, keep it up in years to come. I would also be giving my sister a good talking to if I were in your shoes. How dare she demand things while she is at your house? Well, it's 25 minutes now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Tell me what you thought about today's episode of r/AmITheA hole. There were some really good comments in that last post that I really wanted to read about the gaslighting relationship, but if, it's unfortunate. That's how life goes sometimes, hey? Hope you guys had a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!